Welcome into the I-80 Club After Dark. Josh and Jack with you. Jack, I begin tonight's podcast with a tweet from Eric. Eric with a K, who writes on Twitter, "Why bother?" And why bother, Eric, with a K? Because we promised this to our subscribers. If we had not promised this, we would not be here. And I'd be on my couch, relaxing with a beer in my hand, not talking about the team for another 90 minutes. How are you?
I took a nap. Nice. I took a nap at 8 o'clock at 7:45.
Oh my gosh.
That's how depressed and tired and wanting to escape the world I was. I took a nap, and I probably could have slept through till the morning. So, no, I mean, I mean, like I said in my tweet, Josh, like many of you who probably feel the same way, but are here tonight, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm tired, I'm unreasonably annoyed with basically everything that anyone says.
Hey, at least you added the word unreasonably.
Somewhat unreasonably. I don't have any answers to any of the questions anyone's asking, and I'm annoyed with people who claim that they do.
My favorite part.
Let's have a show. Let's have a great show.
One of my favorite parts about working with you, and I'm serious when I say this, is how annoyed you get at people for like having opinions, like strong opinions, where it like bothers you that people are like, the problem is this, and you're like, are you sure that that's the fix? I love that about you. I think I don't know why I love that about you, but I love that about you.
I'm not, by the way, just to be clear, I'm not opposed to opinions. I'm opposed to opinions that have never proven to work, ever. And I doubt are going to work or are backed by low-hanging fruit, dumbass, groupthink reasoning.
Like what? What's an opinion?
Oh, I don't even want to do that. Don't make me throw this out there and then start in a debate.
Oh, is it are you talking about Satterfield?
I'm talking about a million things.
Oh,
I'm talking about anything.
I just don't know.
I mean, I got tons of them, but like, we don't need to have need to have me start like pre-arguing against something that someone hasn't brought up here.
Perfect.
At this point, things are terrible enough as they are.
Yeah.
I'm already in a bad mood enough as I am right now. Yeah. So, but the good thing is perhaps that whole attitude I'm coming into this stupid ass show with is going to make for an entertaining show. It probably, I hope it will. So here we go. And I feel bad for Josh because he's already done 2+ hours of this already. Well, and took callers, which at least we don't have.
I haven't had dinner yet either. I was eating some Scotcheroo.
Nice healthy dinner. We got Casey's pizza.
Well, welcome in. If you're joining us live on the YouTube channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We would love to have you hang around. We do podcasts. If this is your first time in the ID Club and our numbers are already climbing higher and higher, I think they've been
very
high 3 minutes in, the highest numbers. What up? Welcome. We do this pod. We always promise during football season 3 pods a week. We're doing like 5 or 6 pods a week basically now. We would love to have you join us. Patreon.com/ID Club. Right now we've expanded our hoops coverage. Jack and Caleb Henry did a podcast yesterday. They'll be doing a post-game show for the Nebraska basketball program on Monday after their home opener. We do Saturday morning coffee show where we have fun conversations where we preview the game and what would it mean for them to lock up a bowl berth. The game is always more enjoyable.
I was drinking pop out of a bowl and talking about how tonight we'd be celebrating a bowl berth, and I'd be drinking beer out of a bowl. And
Jack, I made a graphic. You know what? I will put it. Let me upload it into I'll upload it into our little our stream here so I can show this to you because I was going to tweet this out at the end of the game when they locked up a win, but they didn't. And so there it is. The tears of your enemies.
So many things that we've done over the last many years that we imagine or plan to do after that win happens.
Yeah.
And we never do them.
Yeah, Mickey says Jack's urine bowl doomed us. The urine bowl doomed us all. So we do this pod quite a bit. We would love to have you join us at the very least, though. Like we said, like and subscribe to the YouTube page. We hang out here all the time, and we have all sorts of content inside of the I-80 Club. UCLA 27, Nebraska 20. For the third consecutive game, Nebraska goes in trying to lock up their first bowl bid since the Barack Obama administration. For the third straight game, Nebraska unable to lock up their first bowl bid since the Barack Obama administration. Three straight losses.
Eighth time since 2016.
Eighth time since 2016. That goes back now to Iowa in 2019, which began this losing streak that the program finds itself on in games like this. And they fall now, Jack, to 5-4. And dare we say this was maybe the most dispiriting loss of them all so far. Even though I guess maybe that's a topic in and of itself.
That is a
dispiriting loss of this.
That's the kind of topic I like because it's a lot of
look at the smile on your face.
That's a good because it's a self-pity. That's the one thing I am interested in is self-pity. 100%. They should have Jack's self-pity show after the losses. That's a call-in show I could get behind where people call in and talk about how sorry they feel for me and themselves for having to go through this. I like that idea.
Yeah. Is this the most dispiriting? I mean, so
of the 5-win genre of losses, it's amazing that we have 6 to pick from. 7.
Yeah. Jumanji says by far the most dispiriting loss, at least for me.
Man,
I was more dispiriting than the next. That's the podcast title.
No, I would say the way the Iowa one ended. Those ones last year were pretty rough. All of them too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's too recent. I was really down after that Iowa one.
Yeah.
Really down because it looked like it was gonna happen.
G-Strand says that being year 2 makes it worse.
Yeah.
Jack, we came on the pod a couple weeks ago after the Indiana loss, and that was a podcast full of big picture discussions, right? A lot of big picture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like tonight might be more of that. I-Formation points out being down 27-7 today made it bad. This is one where the final score is certainly not indicative of the type of football game it was. UCLA absolutely owns the first half. They dominate time of possession. They sucked. I saw my parents at the brewery tonight. And they were in the stadium. And they were like, how quiet it got during that first quarter because they just sucked all the energy out of the stadium. They had the ball for 13 minutes and 30-something seconds, Jack. Nebraska ran 3 plays in the first quarter. It was over. The first quarter was over before it even got started. And that
was demoralizing.
That's the word. It was absolutely demoralizing in the first quarter today for Nebraska.
And mostly dink and dunk, a few bigger passes, but just quick, short rhythm passing game for the most part. Nebraska can't get pressure quick enough, or if they do, they miss. And UCLA always has a guy open. Yeah. Always has a guy open.
Every single time.
Every single time. That has got to be one of the most – that happened with Indiana too. That has got to be one of the most frustrating things about these losses this season is that the opponent against Nebraska's defense will be able to have legit, like 80% of the plays find a receiver with nobody within 4 feet of them. And Nebraska gets that twice a game, maybe. Pass 5 yards downfield, maybe twice a game. Every receiver always has someone blanketed on them or within 2 steps away from being able to intercept the ball.
Yeah.
And the other team has, like, to me, honestly, that shows more than anything how far away Nebraska is on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
It looks offense.
It's hard. It's difficult.
It looks
it's
offense
really hard.
Looks so hard for them and can look so easy for their opponents, especially in the passing game.
Yeah, exactly. And so by the time that they got up, they being UCLA, 27-7 early in the third quarter because they get the pick six, and talk about a demoralizing play. You fight, you claw. The defense does bow up a few times, right? Like it's 10-0 before you can blink. Nebraska gets the touchdown. It's 10-7. They hold them to a field goal after some more chunk plays. And then after that, they stiff arm them. The Nebraska defense stiff arms them for the rest of the first half. They do all of that work. The offense is giving them nothing to work with. But you go into the half and you are down by 6 points. And so you're thinking like, all right, well, this has been a stupid game, but they also played like shit in the first half of the Purdue game. Maybe they can come out and have a much better second half, right? And to have the pick six immediately. The next time that the defense is on the field, they are demoralized, and suddenly it's 27-7. And like, I never thought that they were going to win, even with all the points. I mean, Jack, I don't want to be the guy that reads the tweet that they had during the game, but I mean, I had a tweet during the game where I'm like, they're going to get a stop, they're going to score, they're going to make it a one-score game, they're going to get another stop, they're going to get the ball back, and then they're going to turn it over and they're going to lose by a score. Guess what happened? I mean, like, come on, how predictable was this stuff?
I mean, it's every game is that, Josh. It's every game. It is every game. It is every game where they've got to get a stop and or a score at the end in a one possession game, with the exception of Indiana. But other than that, it's been every loss essentially, except for Michigan and Indiana. It's been 90% of the losses is that. And once again, yes, you had your backup quarterback in, right? Yes, there was a lot stacked against you, but it is amazing that there's just not one of these times where that's not going to go, where isn't just going to go right, on that last possession.
Well, and how about classic that they missed the freaking extra point?
Oh, I know.
So it's like just
so they were probably
going
to have to play for overtime.
John got spoiled by that. I was sitting next to John, and he had Twitter open, and he was like, they're going to miss this extra point. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, I just saw it on Twitter. And sure. So it's like, I'm like, all right, how's this going to happen? And he just freaking sailed it to the left. Like, what is happening?
Like, again, anytime you think something is great, it's not. The next week, it's just not great. And then some of the time you think something's terrible, the next week it's not terrible. But not, not everything happens with that. Yeah. What do you think they would have? They would have kicked you think they would have put it into overtime if they scored?
Definitely.
With Harburg in?
Definitely. I think so. I-formation, by the way, points out that the pick six was a 14-point swing since Fedoni was wide open. I don't know if there's been a good replay on that, but everyone, Jack, that I talked to who was at the game. I
saw I-formation say it. I haven't really seen it myself, but
my parents said the same thing. Everyone that I talked to who was at the game looked at that play, and they said, because the discussion that is coming out of the game, I mean, again, there can be big picture stuff, and I'm happy to do that tonight. The main crux of the discussion, though, that I seem to see is Dylan Raiola and what the hell's happening, because he's missing guys. He obviously, I keep saying, Jack, he's spooked. But Fedoni, that's the play that everyone points to. Fedoni apparently was wide open in the seam and obviously missed him, and he threw. And Raiola mentioned in the press conference too. He mentioned that Fedoni was wide open and he missed him. So not great, man. Not great. G-Shram, he was so open it wouldn't have been a touchdown, but a chunk play.
Well, Fedoni isn't the most, no offense, Thomas, but yeah. It's here's the craziest thing. I can't believe I would have ever been saying this, but there was a little part of me, not all of me, but there was a little part of me. I certainly didn't want to see Raiola get hurt. That was bad. But there was a little part of me that was like, Harburg might give them a little bit of a better situation than Fedoni right now when he comes in. Or excuse me, than Raiola. Than Dylan when he comes in.
Yeah.
If he has to, he came in obviously well inside the red zone, but on that last drive, I was like, I'm not so sure I wouldn't rather have Harburg here in this situation just to see, because we've seen it, right, with Raiola. We've seen the offense with Raiola. It's been mostly fully ineffective. Luckily he had a couple of moments today, right? Not a ton, but a couple of, Nair had a couple of moments that looked a little bit like they did at the beginning, but way too few. In the entire.
What has happened? What has happened?
I don't freaking know, man.
What has happened?
That's a great question. It's a great question because, like I said initially, there are very rarely guys open, but there are sometimes, and so they never get hit, right? It still goes back to my comment this morning, Josh, and it's part on Raiola, and it's part on Satterfield, and it's part on everybody, I think, but it's still insane, this offense's incapability of ever getting a player with the ball behind the defense. Ever. It's like the defense always has 15 guys playing layers of prevent that no one ever gets behind anyone.
It does kind of seem like that. It's just like there's always somebody else.
Like they keep going. It's like a video game that regenerates, right?
Yeah.
More and more players. I don't know the answer. It's a great question, and I think there's a lot that goes into it. But the offense is completely broken. It is, fully, completely, totally broken. I don't know if it anything. I don't know what you get out of it this year or how you do it. But it's got to be fully revamped. Raiola has got to be He's got to work all off season. It's completely messed up.
D'Lo says we have an effing quarterback coach this season and a 5-star, and somehow that position is worse than last year.
It's unbelievable.
I cannot agree more. The offense from last season is now an offense that is better and more equipped to win games in November, which I know that they didn't win any games. Like, it's a weird statement. But the offense last year is better than the offense as it currently stands right now.
No, I think
every part of the offense, Jack, is like causing issues for the other problem.
Yes.
They can't run the ball.
Point. It's a
great
point. They
can't run the ball because they don't have good running backs. They can't run the ball because they don't respect the run game. They can't throw the ball because receivers, they either don't get separation, or when they do, the quarterback misses them and doesn't throw them the football. And then the offensive line fails around all of this.
So the quarterback can't make good throws. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And because there were times, man, where they were rushing 6 or 7. The offensive line has no hope versus a 6 or a 7-man rush, especially when they can still lock down the players on the back end. There's no time to get the ball out. It is broken.
It's like one of those chains of losses that they do in college football or college basketball, where every team has beat every team, right? Those are all the individual things in Nebraska's offense. Like, there are flaws everywhere in the talent, I guess, in the play calling, in the coaching, in the blocking, in the passing, in the running, in the scheme,
everything.
Like, there's not one thing going well consistently. There's not one thing this offense that you can say consistently does well at this point, and that's shocking.
Hey, I got something for you, because D'Lo says that throwback from 10, though, so predictable. That's the bread and butter play, Jack. He got 10 yards.
I wish I loved anything as much as they love that.
Touchdown, baby.
What team has run the same trick play 3 times in a season and a half?
First down. Imagine being mad about a first down on a trick play every time. Couldn't be me. I
was pissed about it last time, too, against Illinois. God,
Mickey says, didn't it only get 9? I thought it only got 9, but they marked it as a first down. Suck
again,
on that, haters.
It's still not a big play. The lack of big plays are just unreal.
Jack, it's a hilarious play. It's a hilarious play because it looks like, oh, man, here they go. They're going to get 9 yards. Every time it has this such buildup, this great buildup, and then it gains 9.
Well, it was, he barely got it off again. I think they keep dreaming of how open Sims was against Minnesota, how badly Minnesota defended it. But
yeah.
I don't know. I was so excited when they threw that one bomb to Ja'Cory Barney. And I was like, finally, at least put up a ball that a receiver has a chance at getting. All he's got to do is catch. Like, not much has to go right? You just got to catch the ball. And Barney made a great play on that to catch it. But honestly, I think that probably be, if Dylan can throw, that would be my strategy as often as possible now. It's just bombing the absolute hell out of the ball to those guys.
How about what
they're playing back anyway? How
about what my wife from the other side of the wall brings up? I think we need to call the opponents get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So against Purdue, success was just draw 1 million pass interferences. This game, every drive that had a personal foul on UCLA, touchdown. Let's see how many they can draw versus USC in 2 weeks.
It was incredible that one. Man, the last one though, I could not believe that. I can't even tell what he did. I don't know what they did on any of them, to be honest, but
I don't either. I don't
whatever.
What was the second one? The first one was the thing in front of the bench.
Bench.
Yeah,
I never saw. They did a bad job. I thought the TV did a bad job showing what they were. If there's a personal foul or a fight, I want to know everything about it. You should have a correspondent on that sideline just for personal fouls and fights and getting me all of the details. Who did and said what, first of all.
Yeah.
Don't ever undercover those. They undercovered those. I don't know what the second was. I can't even remember.
I can't even remember what the second one was either. The third one was was that the one where shit, I don't even remember that one either.
The third one was at the end of the game, right? There were 3 were there 3 at the end of the pile when the guy
That's what it was. See, but I didn't see it. It was like
on the third down. It was on number 2.
Yes. Because it would have been 4th and goal, and instead they got the first down, and then they scored like 8 plays later still. Yes. God, that took like 4 minutes, dude. It took 4 minutes or 3 minutes for them to score.
Way to take down that clock.
Yeah.
That's good. Other times they've had to take down clock, and they can't. That time they took down clock. Somebody on the YouTube chat says the second was a lineman shove. Okay. I missed that.
I thought that was the third one.
And Josh, they may not have been good calls, but sometimes bad calls even out for everyone. So you can't bring those up. Those up.
Nice.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, man, what a benefit they got from those during.
And it really did give the other drive away. Like, oh, hey, they're not going to score here on fourth down because they have not gotten a personal foul penalty on this drive. And sure enough, no touchdown. No touchdown for Nebraska.
So, I mean, I guess like we could talk about the rest of the season, but I mean, here's the bottom line now. The offense, in my opinion, is irretrievably broken for this year. And they've got to change all kinds of things about it. The defense still, I think, has the potential to play pretty well and play weirdly bad. I can't totally put my finger on when and why that happens. I think the kind of attack UCLA had, and to a degree Illinois had, are particular kryptonite to this defense. But they also can look good sometimes too. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. If they win any games, Josh, over the next 3, it's going to because the defense just completely balls out against the mediocre offense. Probably Wisconsin most likely, but we'll see. Iowa apparently now is great after changing quarterbacks.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
By the way, South Carolina's up by 10 points right now, and they have the ball late in the third quarter versus Texas A&M. So another top 10 team.
I was so down tonight. See, remember how I was in a good enough mood against Indiana to watch other games? Like I was into that. I was fine after Ohio State. Tonight was the night where I couldn't watch any other games. I'm not even joy in other people's pain is not doing it for me. Like tonight, this one hurt me at a new level tonight.
Yeah.
At a new freaking level.
Why is that, do you think? Is it because, I mean, you just mentioned all the things are broken. Like the conversation now is about changes, right? Like it's about what is the program going to do to, I
continued to say, look, let's let the season finish up and let's we'll see. And there are still 3 games, but man, that one was so bad. And there are still 3 games, and I will, consider them in my entire whatever thoughts about the season. But
it's okay to make up your mind before the last 3 games.
Right. And I think I was clear about what I think now about these things, but I genuinely thought they were going to win that game, Josh. Like, I mean, coming into it, I genuinely thought they were going to win that game. I did not expect this to happen, and I was totally wrong. So
same.
If people want to pile on me for that, they can. It's a weird thing to do if you're a fan of the team, but nonetheless, like, I think that was it. And just because how this season all of a sudden got depressing so freaking fast. It's crazy how these seasons can go 60-0 in terms of how depressing they are. And I wasn't there at the stadium, but just hearing people talk about what it was like there, like, I mean, this is a place, 6 weeks ago, whatever, when Colorado game's here, that was like the talk of the entire country in terms of the atmosphere and the excitement and everything else. And it just can
now it's the same shit again. It's the same shit all over again.
It's just such Groundhog Day, Josh. And I can just feel we're going into another pattern. We're back. We're out. We're fully out of the honeymoon period now. Like today was the day we were fully out of the. We got fully out of the honeymoon period.
Long
today.
Long gone. Well, let me ask you this question from Huss. Did it make you start to question coaches? And I'm going to re-ask that question. Does this shake your confidence in Matt Rhule? Or is your confidence being shaken in the head coach of Nebraska?
Well, I mean, my confidence is not as high as it was coming into the season. That's for sure. Yeah. I don't know how you watch this season and not say that, though. Like, I think I'd be surprised if anyone answered it that any.
No, I know. I just wanted to, because we haven't really done that. We've talked. I mean, like, just
this one. I mean, this was a new step, though, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Like today was a new step in terms of that. They looked, I mean, all parts of the game looked bad against a team that should not have been beating Nebraska. Like that's just it. And another game that they just freaking needed. So yeah, today I am at a new place of low confidence. Now that's a different thing than saying I mean, and this will come. It probably already has come a little, but it'll come eventually if it hasn't already. And people already start about saying, hey, if he hasn't gotten it done yet, he's not going to get it done. Mm-hmm. Right? That's either on the verge of happening or will
it's
be
already
happening
happened. I got many messages during overreaction tonight that said stuff along those lines.
So just like going through all of that again, like just beginning the death march again does not sound appealing to me whatsoever of that whole transition. So but yeah, I mean, if the question was, do I think the coaching is good? No. I mean, like, where can we start? Nothing. Everything was terrible. Like everything was terrible. Everything was pretty terrible against Indiana, right? In the middle, they had this weird Ohio State game where things were oddly good, especially on defense. Yeah. So yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think I fully believe, Josh, like I don't think the case needs to be made. I fully believe with some this is an educated belief that the offense is going to be completely retooled next year. So
Satterfield won't be the coordinator.
And I'm going to guess personnel-wise, the offensive is going to be, assuming Raiola sticks around, they're going to get some other people in to help him too. So
that'll be interesting, right?
I don't quite find it all that compelling right now to just break down how to fix this offense now because
that's a wasteful conversation.
It's not fixable anymore.
Yeah,
it's not fixable. I can't believe they got to the level that they did, but it's not fixable. It is to your point exactly. Everything is a problem, and every problem feeds itself in the entire offense.
Some questions. Man, every time Nebraska loses, D'Lo is just so spicy about Rhule. Field still going to be grass though. Like, of all the things to care about, I don't understand why he'll ever care about that so much. But he does ask something that I wanted to answer. He says, what has Rhule done to this point to make you... I know. He never liked it because he didn't like the idea of Rhule being able to do whatever he wants to do. He's the head coach. Give the head coach power. What are we arguing about?
Give no craps about that.
Yeah, D'Lo, what has Rhule done to this point to make you confident? What in the past few years did he earn our confidence? I was confident in him because he's won in college. Like, he built up Temple and he built up Baylor, and like I give too much grace, Jack, to coaches who have done something prior. But I always start with that high level of like, you've done it. You have to lose my confidence. When a coach gets hired, they don't have to earn my confidence, and I think that's the difference between maybe how I approach things and how other people approach things. You got to lose it. For others, they got to earn it. He has certainly been losing it, Josh, over the last year and a half.
How do you have confidence in any new coach? Or I guess maybe he means coming into it's based on their resume and their reputation. So that was first, and what other people said about him.
I'm not going to start in the like, you need to prove to me that you're a good coach. I don't approach things that way. And look, it's also bitten me in the ass with every coach that they have hired. Because if I always start at that level, and Jack, this keeps going back to my analogy that if you always bet with the house in Vegas, you're always going to win. And this, saying Nebraska will falter, is betting with the house because you're going to end up being right every single time. So, congrats. You got it. I didn't. But I always start with you're going to have to lose my trust versus earning my trust.
Yeah. I think my confidence, I'll be fully on you. If you want to know the roller coaster, not you, but I guess Josh wants to know the roller coaster. I came in based on reputation and resume and what other people were saying for the most part, and saw what he did at Temple and Baylor. Then I heard him and he sounded right. He sounded to me like he had a plan that he was, then he brings Dylan Raiola in. I guess that would have been last year. And then I think a little bit was shook at the end of last year. A little of the mystique was taken away by the end of last year for me, but a portion of it, not all of it. I didn't think it was irredeemable, but for sure, the end of the last 4 games took away a little of my confidence in him. Then he brings Dylan in over the offseason, and of course it shoots up after that, right?
Yeah.
How can it not at that point? So that kind of did damage control on whatever happened at the end of 2023. Okay. And then you start and you beat Colorado like you do.
Yeah.
And that shoots it up again. The momentum, the train's going down the tracks at that point. And then, of course, you lose to Illinois in a close game. Okay. Right. Okay. Then Indiana. And now we're here. So, now is when it's starting. Yeah. Now it's when it's starting to go down from there. But, I don't think it's unreasonable. I get it. Some people knew from the beginning. Again, amazing that you knew that this was the place he was going to fail. Right. How you knew that? You'll have to tell me. You'll have to explain it. Not you, but the people
Well,
who
no,
knew
I
he
mean,
was
isn't
gonna
the
fail
answer
all
again?
along.
Isn't the answer? The answer is always because that's what happens.
Is the
now.
house
I got
wins. Yeah.
You know, I got a text from a friend of mine, a really great, my best friend. I got a text from him, you know, during the game, and he has the mindset. And he's had this mindset for a few years now, where he's like, I just don't believe, man. I just don't believe that this place can do it, and it gets hard.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there, Josh.
Yeah,
I'm getting there. That it's less about the coaches and the players, and it's starting to be.
It's the place.
This isn't a jinx. And I'm not even saying it's a magical curse. That there may be that it is really, really. It's harder to succeed here than it is a whole lot of other places for reasons I maybe can speculate about, but don't totally know all of the reasons why. Like, I don't know how you cannot think that at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, that's got to, it's either a magical curse or it's that to some degree. They can't just keep hiring people who become wildly incompetent, right? Who weren't before. And I get it. You might not have liked Mike Riley, but I don't think he was a wildly incompetent. Scott Frost obviously wasn't wildly incompetent at Central Florida, right? He obviously wasn't wildly incompetent at Central Florida. Matt Rhule wasn't wildly incompetent at Temple or Baylor in the college game. But then something happens here with these folks. And that's part of the reason, Josh, why I don't get excited about moving on to the next guy, because I'm like, well, you know, I'm starting to think that they're going to bring somebody in who might sound good and look good on paper, but they're going to get here, and then all of a sudden it's going to be a completely different world for them once again.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go down that road. I kind of want somebody to be able to figure out how the heck you win here, to be honest. And I wonder if that takes a while, or if it's just, I mean, it sounds stupid to say it's not possible. That's obviously ridiculous, but at some point you think about it, man.
Well, hey, Stumanji hits on something that is spot on. I just keep going back to the fact that when Rhule built his coaching staff, it had the fewest combined years of Power 5 coaching experience of any Big Ten program, just like what Frost did. That's
it. Assistant coaches,
you know, like, and I know that's not a topic that you always love doing, but I mean, like, he had a lot of money. He was given a lot of money to hire assistant coaches, and he didn't use up that entire pool, first of all, and he hired some guys that had little to no experience, certainly at this level. He hired some former GAs. He hired some NFL guys, and, like, you know, for all the ups and downs of the defense, I would say that he's done a really good job on that side of the ball. It's not perfect, but it's a top 25 unit in the aggregate over the last two seasons.
Every defensive hire, obviously, Cooper was let go for other reasons, but like every defensive hire was good, correct?
Yes, I think so.
We're not critiquing any defensive hire.
Yeah, you know, I would say this, Jack. The coach that doesn't get talked about ever is Rob Dvorak.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He's the only guy that I feel like we never talk about. But for the most part, defense, we say, shout out to Matt Rhule. He did a good job on that side of the ball.
Okay.
The
so
offense,
we're just talking about half the assistants.
and Foley.
Oh, and special teams. Okay, we're talking about
and Foley. Yeah.
But
I mean, there is a constant with the offensive coaches, and we're not going to relitigate Satterfield again. But all of the criticisms about him have certainly come home to roost. The criticisms about McGuire, I was like, I pushed back against that. I thought that was an inspired hire. His dad, you know, is a coach, and he picked up a huge win today over Iowa State. And so I thought that was a good hire. We see young coaches. Sean McVay was a freaking like coordinator or whatever at a super young age. Like, that shit never bothered me.
Yeah, but like Barthel was a guy that he had worked with before, right? Or he had played there. He knew he had some work with before. It wasn't like, and obviously Raiola came from the current staff, and they wanted to have. I mean, it's less sounding. This was originally proposed, right, as like, well, it was, you know, it was this big thing in terms of how we did this. It sounds to me what you guys are describing is 2 to 3 assistants that you didn't like the hire for.
Well, Raiola, so I don't know if I've ever talked about this on here, but one of the things that Raiola did was he like kept going to work when Frost got fired, and like when they hired, like he just kept going to work, and I guess that was something that really jumped out to him, and so you know, and so we kept him. I didn't like the Donovan Raiola hire in the first place. If he was impressed by his work ethic, more power to you. I still think the offensive line has not been the biggest issue. I think that the running backs have been bad. The recruiting has been bad. The wide receivers have been bad. Satterfield, I think, has been bad. And, his tight ends coach, Jack, had to get let go within months, and he's had two coaches who they've had to let go of because of
I'm just saying
things.
I'm kind of talking to Stumanji here, but I'm hearing it's mainly just 2 to 3 guys, right? That
all of the criticism of not enough Big Ten experience, the criticism of not enough Big Ten experience or power coaching experience is up and down the entire roster. And while the defense again has been top 25 in the aggregate, the defense still has a whole. They got embarrassed today by one of the worst offenses in the Big Ten. So
yeah.
Anyone, that's a whole lot of words to say the whole offense is bad. Yeah, it definitely is.
Right. Well, and like I said, you don't. Again, we'll say again in terms of going forward, we all agree that major changes have to happen with the offense.
Yeah,
that's it. So
definitely that. Yeah, and they will. And I don't
think
it's going to be the whole staff, though. It's not going to be the whole staff, but there's going to be a lot of changes.
Yeah, I don't know who it'll be, but I assume there will be.
Oh, I can give you a guess. I
assume
Barthel's going to be gone. Satterfield's going to be gone. I think McGuire's going to stay, much to the chagrin of many. I think Raiola's going to stay, much to the chagrin of many. And I think Foley is he's going to get reassigned. So that's 3. And then there's a part of me that wonders if Tony White's going to leave, whether to be a head coach or just go somewhere else.
That's always going to be.
But I'm thinking he might go somewhere else.
Oh, that could be too.
Yeah, so.
That could be too.
Huss asked, will Satterfield be gone or reassigned? He's going to be gone. He is not going to be on the staff next year. No way.
Yeah, so we can, seriously, we can stop the arguing for that.
No one's arguing right now. We're just having a conversation about that.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. Josh, have you seen the chat? Did you hear your phone calls? Have you seen? Okay, never mind. Yes, you're right. Nobody's arguing.
I didn't say that.
You're definitely right. You're definitely right.
I'm talking to you,
Josh.
Jack.
I about flipped my lid. I wanted to call you on my phone while your first caller on the show was complaining that Nebraska didn't run the ball and that's why they lost the game today. Your first caller on 1620. Yeah, that was their call.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever saying that.
I just don't.
Yes,
Jack,
they are.
I don't know why your opinion on this whole discussion is always shaped by an opinion from a fan that says, I want to run the ball more.
It's opinion.
That always happens. Why is that the thing that gets you?
I just wanted to, Josh, one point I was making, your point is no one's saying that. Your point made to me was no one's saying that. Literally the first person I heard.
That was one of the few callers that actually mentioned that they don't run the ball enough, by the way. The question or the thing is never they can't run the ball or they don't run the ball. It's always, why can't they run the ball? That's always the criticism that I hear more of. Why can't they run the ball? Not why don't they run the ball?
I listened carefully.
And then you took a nap. And then you took a nap. And now you're arguing with
what does that have to do with anything?
You didn't hear the other phone calls.
Why is my nap relevant at all?
You didn't hear the other phone calls.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It is. Josh, and the question is that we were getting into in the channel, it was a little bit more of an interesting, productive discussion. Is the fan base inexplicably has their hopes and dreams ripped from their hearts again in this game, like they have year after year after year after year. But nothing's really going to change, right? Nothing's going to change in terms of
you talking about the rest of the year?
Sellout streak will continue. Of course, Wisconsin's going to be. It's going to be a ho-hum, tickets are cheap game for Wisconsin type situation, especially assuming they lose to USC before it. But I don't know. Eventually, you'll go into next year, and I suppose you'll make some changes, and that'll be enough to excite people. And then if that doesn't go well, people start getting excited about hiring a new head coach after year 3, and that'll be enough to keep. Is there any endpoint, right, where things really truly change about the following of this team? Is there any point where people have had too much? That's what I start to wonder.
Yeah, I think the answer to that question is what happens with the coaching staff. I think that plays a big part in it, right? If they were to run it back, and I don't think they will. So I don't even want to go down this road because I don't think that they will run it back. But Jack, if they ran it back, man, I think people would be pissed. I do not think that people would respond very well to that.
You mean in terms of the whole assistant coaching staff?
Yeah. If they brought
everybody freaking hates the assistants, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I don't think that – I don't know, man. Like, this offseason is now suddenly turned into, like, a really, really weird one. I don't know what the vibe is going to be. Like here, let's talk about something that we have not mentioned so far, and that is Dylan Raiola and what his future here is. Because I think that there is fear is one word that I would describe Jack, that he is going to leave. And then I think there are others that are just like, he is going to leave. Why would he want to be at Nebraska? And it's less fear and it's more resignation. That I think, like, I don't know what that does if he decides to leave. Like, what does that do for the program? You know, or I don't know what that means. And so like, I really don't even have a question, but like that is, I think, hanging over things. Like when people brought it up in September, I was like, you're an idiot. Now I don't know. And this is not intel. It's just, you know, when you talk it out and it's like, hey, look, the guy wants to go to the NFL. Is this the place that's going to help him go to the NFL? The answer is no right now, right? So it's like, you know, I don't know.
No, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't rule it out, but I'm also not. There are some people who are just trying to make a point about how bad things are and who are saying, well, why would he ever consider staying? I think there are reasons he would do both, right? I think so. Of course, I'm at least somewhat concerned about it. So yeah, imagine if that happened, right? Because how much of why you still have faith, to the extent you do still have faith in this coaching staff, is tied to him.
Now that's a great question. What is your answer, and what do you think is the other?
To be honest, it's less now than it was at the beginning of the year.
Oh, how crazy is that?
I told you, in this game, I was kind of having an internal debate in my head, maybe it would be better if Heinrich's in there on that last drive, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously I wouldn't have said that in September.
No.
But yes, I think the idea of it, the embarrassment of it all would be really tough for people to take if it happened. Yeah. It would be really tough. And then then I guess they go, Josh, I think what they have to do then is do what every other team does,
which is
and get a 1-year transfer quarterback, right?
Yeah.
A portal quarterback, or not necessarily 1 year, but go portaling at this point. And who knows? Maybe that's what they should have done all along. Weirdly enough, you know.
Is there a part? Is there
what do they have Kyle McCord this year? I mean, is this a better year if they have Kyle McCord?
I was just gonna say, isn't there a part of you that wonders, oh man, what would have happened if they would have gone after Kyle McCord? You know, or if they would have gone for him instead of no, like you can't say no, right? You can't say no to the 5-star quarterback who wants to come to Nebraska.
Right. But now that we know what we know, right?
Dude, I've thought it multiple times this year. I know he threw 1 million pick sixes last weekend, but I've thought about that when I watch them, when I see his numbers, when I look at Kyle McCord, and it's like, oh, interesting. You know, he is performing at a pretty high level again this year.
Clint, I am not reading your comment.
What if Sadie made it right with CT11? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting. Yeah, like that is an interesting question though. Let's say, terrible scenario. He ends up he's going to, whatever, pick your SEC school, or he's going to Ole Miss or something, whatever. I don't know where it would end up being, but he's going somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so Nebraska this December, right? Which by the way, maybe with or without a bowl going on, is, how about that situation? They could be getting ready for a bowl, maybe, or maybe not.
Yep.
And then in the thick of the transfer portal thing at that point, and looking for, because that's what they have to do, right? They're not going to go in. They're not going to go in with Harburg's a junior, right? They're not going to go in with like Harburg and Danny Kalen next year.
Oh, that'd be I hope not.
And the other freshman.
Oh, Gramstad, everyone's king.
No,
Jalen Gramstad.
He's gone. He'll be gone.
Yeah, he's
like a 7th-year senior or something. Or who's the guy who's coming in? I can't think of his name right now. Starts with an L.
Yeah. Well, the guy who had that really awkward interview at 24/7 Sports where he
did? I didn't see that.
It was from the summer. It was a long time ago, but he was basically like, "Yeah, I'm not locked in." And they were like, what? And then he ended up putting out a statement like a couple days later.
Lateef, thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
thank you.
TJ Lateef, yeah.
Yeah, he did this weird interview where he's like, nope, I'm not locked in. And they were like, wow, there's a story. And then like 2 days later, he was like, just kidding. I'm good. I'm staying. I love Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
It was really
yeah.
hilarious.
Well, who knows?
Not great.
But anyway, like hypothetically, if that were the case, they're definitely getting a transfer quarterback, right?
They're
definitely looking for somebody.
Here's the thing, Jack, that really sucks about this season going sideways. The expectation was going to be Dylan Raiola plays at such a high level that other players see him performing at a high level and are like, ooh, I want to go there.
Yes.
That hasn't happened. And so you figured that they were going to be able to.
That was part of the plan.
It was a part of the recruiting plan. They were going to ride this wave of Dylan mania, and they were going to use it to springboard them for the next 2 years. And then they were going to use that to bring in other quarterbacks, and then the problems would be solved. They have a whole host of issues. And Jack, if you are a wide receiver, if you are a running back, if you are an offensive lineman, why the F would you want to come to Lincoln, Nebraska right now, barring them hiring an OC that people know, that like has a name, and there are like 2 of those guys in the entire country.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. Chip Kelly ain't walking through that door.
Right.
So like, how are you going to use that? How are you going to recruit? It's like they got Banks and Nayor, and that's probably going to be the pool that they're swimming in again. It's going to be like this, like, oh, that guy was good for what he is in the ACC. Oh, that injured guy at insert power program blank. Maybe he'll finally find his footing. For every Trey Palmer, there's a million of these guys. Jamal Banks, man, that was embarrassing again from him today. Man. What the hell is happening?
It's so crazy. And all you heard about this offseason was how impressive he was.
He got the stupid single-digit number. He's the only one on offense. Also, you want to talk about something that I have had it up to here with.
What's that?
Single-digit numbers. I don't give a shit. I don't want to talk about it ever again. My God.
I just don't want
the paper that we type on.
I just don't want the numbers changing because it confuses me.
And we are different.
And also,
but in the end, we come together and we shake hands. Single
in the end,
digits,
for different reasons.
Stupid.
And Jamari Butler didn't even keep his, Josh.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So tired. I'm so tired.
Thank
God I have an extra hour sleep tonight. I'm so tired.
What their prize should be? They should just get to pick their number.
I don't care. Just give them numbers.
Or maybe like a gift card to Culver's or something. I don't know.
There you go. Raising Canes. The kids love Raising Canes.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, it's such a good point though. The plan was Dylan mania. We did get a good 3 to 4 weeks of Dylan mania, by the way, Josh.
September was a blast. It really was fun.
We got Dylan mania. It was all going to plan. And then the second half of Illinois happened.
Yep.
It was halftime. The halftime of Illinois was the end of Dylan mania. And when you don't have that, you didn't. Yeah, the recruiting part of it changes. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to happen. Like it'll really be interesting to see what he does. And I don't have any information one way or the other. And I still tend to think he'll stay. If I really had to guess, if I had to guess right now, I would think he'll stay another year. That Dylan will stay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, because I think he wants to. I think he, as much as anyone, wants to be the one. I think part of why he's doing this is because he wants to be the one to bring it back, right? To be the one who is.
He definitely seems to care about that for sure.
And like he does, and it'll be let me just be clear. I assume everyone's here, but I very much want him to come back. Very much want him to come.
Definitely. Back. He's so.
I'm down on him this season, but I am not. Just to be clear, I am not out on him. I don't pull the plug on people that quickly, right? Yeah. I don't know exactly what it is, and like I said, I think there's fault all over the place on offense, but they need him to stay. They need to make sure that he stays.
Huss says, I've noticed something that is super reliable at this point. Rhule always downplays guys who he is really confident in, and he talks up guys who are struggling. You could set your clock to it. Remember when Dylan was good this year and he kept sandbagging? Now he talks about Dylan Raiola like he's a god. Wow, that's quite the poker tell. That is quite the poker tell right there. Interesting.
Do you know what's sort of related, slightly different topic, though, Josh? I watched UCLA today, and at one point I said, this Eric Bieniemy offense, this is what Nebraska's offense should be. If like with Dylan Raiola.
Yeah.
Right? And I
1, 2, 3 throw. 1, 2, 3 throw.
Yes,
1, 2, 3 throw.
Let him. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, to get him high, man, there were things I liked about that. Get him some receivers that are going to rack up numbers in this whole thing. Man, that was one of the things that I thought watching this. But brings me to my bigger point still, is it still feels like, Josh, at least right now, and like we said, we believe things are changing, but you've got an offensive coordinator who wants to do one thing. You've got a head coach that wants to do another thing on offense, and you kind of have a quarterback who maybe wants to do something different as well, or at least what's in his best interest. You have got to figure out a way to unify those next year.
Yeah.
It feels to me like they are all coming from slightly different philosophical positions on what the offense is. And when that happens, they don't get good at anything, it feels like. Because and they haven't. They have got Rhule has got to hire a guy who's going to run an offense that he can get behind. Because I don't think that's it with Satterfield.
Hey, what does he want, man? What does he want from his offense, though?
Again,
this is, I've said it. I've said it for a while. I think he wants an offense that wins games in a very particular way, and that type of way is not one where you score a whole lot of points.
Yes.
It's ball control. It's not turning the ball over. But you know what? Hey, here's the issue, though. When you have a defense that can be leaky at times, and then you suddenly have a drive where you're down by 2 scores and all of the pressure is on the offense in that moment in time, it's a lot of pressure, man. It's really, really difficult, and I feel like too often that happens. Like, I would like, because there's a few people who are like, hey, just bring in what Indiana's doing. Bring in that offensive coordinator. Hey, sounds good to me, but you know what? I don't think that's the type of offense he wants. I think what you said about UCLA, it's funny, too, because all year long they've been like the worst offense in the conference, and of course now they're playing
so freaking good.
But like that is a type of offense certainly that I think he would get behind. It's a difficult offense. Now, if I'm taking you totally literally, and it's like you want the Bieniemy offense, it's a difficult one to learn in college, and it's why they had a lot of issues early in the season, and it's why they're finding themselves right now. But I understand what you mean in general, where it's like an offense that is gonna do some things, it's gonna be able to get guys open. But like that's the thing. Like they were able to execute.
You don't need to have Jeremiah Smith at wide receiver to run that offense, right?
100%.
You need a good tight end, right? You need a good tight end. You need a running back who can catch the ball out of the backfield too. You need a quarterback who can be accurate, quick, and make decisions.
Yep.
But again,
and they don't have any of that.
Right. But you've got the pressure of Satterfield's offense, what Rhule wants, and what's best for Raiola, how to best fit the offense to him. There are 3 different completely pressures going on at this thing that's turned into this amalgamation of I don't know what the hell it is, Josh. And then trying to fit the personnel that they've got. Just figure out, just nail down what what should the offense be next year? If Dylan's here, what should the offense be next year? God. It's got to,
what a question.
It's got to be, like, what is the best case scenario for personnel and style for this offense? Is it trying again to go in the portal and get him some bit? Or is it relying on, say, hey, Ja'Cory Barney, Jalen Lloyd, like these are our dudes now, right?
I'll give you the answer that I have is this. They need a running back. They cannot go through another year with this type of run game. They have to get a running back. They have to get him help. Because if there is no run game that the defense does not have to respect, it's too difficult. It is way too difficult. If they had a run game, if they were able to run the football, the passing game would be better. Dylan Raiola would be better. The offense as a whole would be better. But they don't have a running game. Dude, again, man, I watched these holes open up. There are yards to be had. I would love, there's one of those fancy analytic stats where it's like the percentage of yards available that the running back gets or something. I don't remember the exact name of it. I would love to know what it is. I would love to know the yards above expectation. Rather, for Nebraska, it feels like it's the yards below expectation. And I think that's the issue, is the running backs aren't picking up the yards that are available to them on all these plays. They have to get a kick-ass running back in here, Jack. I just don't know if they can, though. I don't know, because again, if you're a good player,
they don't have one coming down they don't have one in the farm system.
Yeah. Why would you want to come to Nebraska right now?
Right? There's nobody in the farm. It's not like they've got a young guy, a young big recruit. They've emptied it's not Quentin Ives, right? Like that's what they've got above the guys. And the funny thing is, I think all of the guys that are here this year, maybe not Ramir, the rest of them could all be back next year.
Oh,
right?
God. See,
I think they all could. Dowdell, Emmett's a sophomore, right? Dowdell's a sophomore. Gabe Irvin's a junior, believe it or not. So they could all be back.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah. But yeah, I certainly don't disagree with you. That would be
that would solve some problems.
That would be solid. And then let Dylan right. And
sorry, Jordan says I'll give my testicles that we're going to use for an NHL team to get Ashton Genty. Yeah. Remember the hockey team? Everyone provide your testicles, the Omaha testicles.
Get Ashton. I'm sure
he'll be playing in the National Football League in 2025.
I think he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah,
that's the thing. There's so much work to do on the offense.
Adam says, I want more roster turnover this season. In retrospect, we had too many guys stay. It's an old roster right now, man. It's a very old roster.
I agree and I disagree because, and again, are we talking about offense or defense?
My guess is he's probably talking some defense too.
Yeah, I guess, man. I don't know.
Here's the argument for it, Jack. If there would have been more turnover, maybe you have more pain this year, but at least you're playing younger guys.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe. But you are playing younger guys on defense too. There's a bunch of younger guys who are playing too, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily along the defensive line. That's where your veterans are. But gosh, Shavers was in there a bunch again today. McGahee was in there a bunch today. Princewell was in there a bunch today. Jeremiah Charles was in there a bunch today. Like they're working young guys in on the defense quite a bit too. So I don't know that and so I guess if you're talking offense, I've heard that argument before, and I'm trying to figure out who people are talking about exactly.
Lineman, right?
Benhart.
Yeah.
Benhart and
Corcoran. No, I know he's been hurt, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and
the running back.
Yeah. Oh well, I would love it if they wouldn't have had this room. I hated the running back room, man. I hated it because it was a bunch of returning guys that I didn't like.
But again, they got nobody. I mean, they're using everybody they got. They don't have anybody.
No, but is there a world where you say, get out of here? Let's instead of bringing in one guy, you bring in three guys, or at least you bring in two guys.
Right.
Why couldn't they have done that? I am fascinated to see in terms of roster construction, what they decide to do this offseason is going to be really interesting because people are right. There has not been like a ton of roster turnover in each of the first two off seasons. Like, is that going to change? Are they going to try to run it back again with a very similar group? And it's like plugging and playing. How many portal guys have they added, Jack, in the last two off seasons combined? It's probably around 20. Is that a high number?
Portal at what position?
Portal. Just in general. How many portal players have they added
more than
to the
you
roster?
think. I know everyone's like,
so?
He doesn't portal that much, but then I was going, when we were naming them off once, it was like, well, it's actually quite a few from last year.
Is it more than 20?
Both, this year, both wide receivers, right? You've got Dowdell, right?
3.
You've got Mazuka, right?
4.
You've got let's see. And then if you want to go to defense, you've got Bradford, you've got Sierra Wright.
That's 7.
It's going to end up being about 10.
6.
It's
See, that's not very many, though, Jack. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's 10 a year is only 20. That's not very many portal players.
Right.
Can they? That probably needs to be higher this next offseason.
Maybe.
Oh,
Husker Huss is like Signetti did it. Well, that's a completely different situation. He brought his own team.
Yeah. Well,
he brought his literally his existing team with him.
Sure,
you can't do that now.
Not to bring up, Deion Sanders, but when he got hired, he did not just bring his team. He brought in a lot of players, from the portal, and he portaled again heavy this offseason.
His 3 best players were also from his team, though.
They were.
I mean, yeah, it's nice when you've got that built in. That's a huge advantage.
It definitely does. It definitely does. Yeah. Rhule being an NFL
probably more
coach,
than that. It's probably even more than that for him if I think about it. There were a couple other guys at Jackson State that are wide receivers now that are solid.
DW says, Josh is right. Thank you, DW. Play the numbers game a bit. Running back room would be a great place to try. I think that's the thing. They just have to do it. They just have to try, Jack. I just don't think that they can say like, yep, let's do 7 to 10 players again because we have a great culture.
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's got a numbers.
Me on the culture.
It's got a numbers game. And I would have been pissed if they would have pushed Gifford out. I would have been pissed in August.
Really?
Right? Yeah, 100%. He had a great year last year. He was great he was he was probably their best defensive player last year.
Really?
Gifford? Yes.
He was?
He had an incredibly solid year. Yeah. He was solid last year. So, I mean, in my opinion, he came in. I thought he was going to be, he's had a rough year. I agree. I don't disagree. He's had a rough year this year, but I fully expected he was going to be one of the stars on this defense this year. I mean, Rhule was talking about him in the NFL when he got here that first year. Yeah. He's like, that's an NFL player at the beginning of the year. And he looked like it to me last year. So Clint, I don't understand why he got so bad. Like, I would have been, if he's throwing out Nash and Gifford and Robinson, like I'd be like, what in the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
So I understand wanting to infuse more talent, but I can understand on the defense why they wouldn't have done that last year. And again, were the people that they brought, how did they do bringing people in? I mean, which one were successes? Sierra Wright, definitely. And after that,
the whole roster. You talking about the whole roster?
Yeah, the transfer class.
Yeah, how do you feel about Nayer? Right, like I guess that would be the other player I would ask you about.
Better today, but still below expectations.
I wish he would fight harder for the catches.
Dowdell, Dowdell's
yards.
Their best running back, but
man.
It was Sierra Wright.
The actor?
I mean, I guess you could have added more of those last year, but
yeah, why didn't you add more actors?
More actors. Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't know. Okay. Like, to me, the thing is not that they kept those people; it's that they didn't get better transfers. That's
definitely.
Yes,
it's mind you, wide receiver transfers. Yeah, it's quality.
It's not quantity; it's quality.
But if you increase the quantity, you're hoping again playing the numbers game that you're able to get a little bit more quality.
And I bet they will this year. I bet the roster allows them to do that more this year.
Jumanji, wide receiver transfers under the staff have been garbage. Yes, they have not been very good. Oh, Billy Kemp, gross. Billy Kemp, that guy couldn't get open. He could never get open.
Yeah.
Oh man, not great. Not great.
But again, here's the other thing though, Josh. Those guys, you can count Kemp. You can talk about Banks. Nair's been injured, so that's a little different. Those guys were better the years before they got to Nebraska than they were when they were here.
Now that is the indictment. That's when you start wondering what the hell's going on.
Like Kemp wasn't a garbage, player at Virginia.
We thought he was going to be.
Everybody, I know he's a
punchline
now, but
he was good. He had numbers.
Yes,
he caught the ball. Yeah. His yards per catch was
Josh
low.
Banks,
but
Banks has numbers that weight.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
So like
Banks, it's regression. What the hell's happening, Jack?
Now. Husker says I'm wrong. He sucked at Virginia. Okay. All right. Well,
are you looking at his numbers?
Six touchdowns, 725 yards, 74 receptions, 725 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I would have taken that.
Yeah, definitely. And then he was hurt, right? He was hurt
the next year, so he barely played.
Classic.
You think that sucks? The year before, 67 for 644, 10 yards of reception. What?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Let's not rewrite history. That's it was a big
Coach Zoomer, man. You want to talk about of all the hires, Jack, that are not aging well? Like I know people hate Satterfield. The McGuire hire is probably which hire do people hate the most? Do you think is it Satterfield?
It's not even close.
You think they hate that more than Foley?
Yeah, because he calls plays, and that's the number one thing that people get mad about is play calling.
So if we're doing non-coordinators, McGuire's easily number one.
Oh yeah. I
don't even know. It's not Donovan, right? It's not.
No, it's not Donovan because it's definitely yes.
It's McGuire by far. Yeah,
for sure.
People hate that guy. Yeah, the takeaway, Jack, that I've had from today is.
Hey, listen, we actually had I know we don't. Sorry to interrupt real quick. We've had some people in the YouTube chat which we don't normally read. Apparently, they want Satterfield fired. Is what I'm seeing
interesting.
From some of the chat in YouTube.
Hey, Jack, that's a good take, so I feel like we should read more of those.
Normally we only read the Discord chat, but it was such a take I hadn't even thought of that I wanted to thank people for mentioning.
I don't understand why this bothered you so much, but yes.
Whatever.
What?
Do your thought. No, I'm not doing it. Go do your thought.
I think Matt Rhule and the way in which he is I think if you like that style, you really get behind him, right? And by that style, I mean the way in which he talks, the way he represents the program, and what he stands for. But Jack, the thing that I am reminded of every time they lose is that if you don't like that, and you would use the term used car salesman to describe Matt Rhule, you freaking despise him. The amount of vitriol that guy gets when they lose is, dude, it reminds me of people disliking Mike Riley because Mike Riley was the quote unquote nice guy. It reminds me of it doesn't really remind me of the hate that Bo got for being a hothead. People, they despise the way he is when they lose. And that's not this is not a value judgment. It's just more of a reminder of, wow, people get so pissed off at the person, not even the situation, but it's more the human being than it is the wins and the losses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It could be. It reminds me of a
future podcast guest of the club, Matt Rhule. Hopefully,
I remember a conversation you and I had after one of his very early press conferences where it was really good. I don't know if it was his opening one, but we were like, everybody was praising it, and I was praising it, and you were praising it, and we were like, yeah, but what will this be like when things go? How will this be twisted? When things go bad. Like we've seen with every other coach, and I think you mentioned used car salesman at that point. And
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm just arguing about people telling me I love Satterfield.
You're just arguing about Satterfield some more.
I love him. I think he's great.
It is so funny that you're not a huge fan of him, but yet you still argue for him.
I can't wait till he's gone. I want him gone more than any of you do. I just don't say it all the time.
You're the one who brings him up. You keep bringing him up.
I want him gone so bad.
Jack, you're the one who brought up the comment section on YouTube.
I will pack up his house if you guys quit talking about it. Holy crap.
Who brought up the comment section on YouTube? You interrupted me. I was about to make my Matt Rhule point, and you
interrupted me. It was a good point,
me.
too. I let you finish. I just saw that, and I was...
Yeah.
Such a unique take.
Brendan writes, my criticism for Rhule has never been the used car salesman thing. That bothered me when he first got here, but I got over it. It's that I don't think he and the staff are all that good. Just flat out not impressive.
Assistant hires. And the game coaching. That one, listen, I've never, the game coaching again. Yeah. It feels like this is so bizarre, Josh. He coached in the NFL, right? He coached at college, several places. He's coached in big games. It still feels like the game is big for him.
Yeah, it does. The timeouts that he takes at the times in which he takes them.
It doesn't feel like he feels on edge.
But you know what? I think Mina Kimes said this once, that like every coach has like one thing that they do like really, really bad. Like, I don't know how much Rams football you watch, Jack, but like one of the criticisms of McVay is this. He takes timeouts at really stupid times. He wastes timeouts away. His in-game coaching when he does and doesn't challenge is really bad. But obviously you like love all the other Sean McVay stuff, right? Like his offense is great. His play design is great. His play calling is great. It's just that some of the in-game decisions on like what to do big picture wise are stupid. Every coach has the bugaboo. But what the issue is if you have that, you have to make up for it in a myriad of other ways. You basically have to be awesome at all the other stuff. And in particular, what is the thing that Matt Rhule is and was known for? It is program building. It is development. It is players showing up with, one star to their name, but a few measurables. And by the time they're a senior, holy shit, that guy's going into the NFL. He has many stories of those exact players, Temple guys, Baylor guys that they recognize. Now, we are talking about a Matt Rhule-led Nebraska team after his 21st game. So they have not gotten to the point of year 3 or 4 like he had at other stops. But I do know that there is a whole host of frustration to like, what the hell? You're not doing any of the things good right now. And I thought that at least the one thing that you were going to do well was going to happen, and it's not.
Right. But on the other hand, I think that's going to end up happening with Ty Robinson. That's going to end up happening with John Bullock. That's going to end up happening with Nash Hutmaker. That's going to end up happening. I don't know if I can think of anybody on offense.
I was just going to say.
That's going to happen with Tommy Hill, you know?
Yeah.
That could end up happening with Sierra Wright, you know?
Yeah.
So that's that is arguably happening still.
Mm-hmm.
That these guys are developing. That part of it is happening at least on the defensive side. So now who's responsible for that? Fair debate, I suppose.
Yeah.
On that, but oh, is that right? What you just put on the chat?
That was more. It was in response. So USC lost. But I'm
did it? Oh, spoiler.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm now very much wondering if the Nebraska USC game is going to be the 10 o'clock, the dreaded USC 10 o'clock kickoff.
Nebraska's back, baby. USC is going to be. Here we go. But I guarantee you by the time, by Wednesday, I'll probably be back on that. So don't worry.
Hell, your Monday interviews have been like insanely positive, even after the bad losses, this year. So Monday I'm looking forward to on Sportsmanlike.
Oh, on Sportsmanlike.
I host a show with John Bishop. You come on, you chat with us every now and then.
So many freaking things with you. I can't remember what you're even referring to.
Isn't it amazing?
It's very confusing. And I do my own radio show, so I'm trying to think of, is he talking about something I do on my show? And then I was like, no, Josh doesn't on my show. That's not it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where I am. No, it'll be hard. It'll be hard to be super positive after this one. This was such a freaking bummer.
Yeah.
God, jeez.
Is it the biggest bummer?
And then the bye week and just the bowl thing could have been done. Like so much. And then you just kind of look at the next 3 games as, all right, this is fun. It's against teams that you really want to beat. It's a trip out to LA. And like, if you could somehow get 2 of them, that's going to feel like you've got a great season. But even if you just get 1, it's not going to feel like a huge disappointment, like referendum time. We're in referendum time now already. And we didn't freaking have to be.
Isn't that the thing, Jack? It's like now everything is going to be big picture. Everything is going to be about the offseason. Everything is going to be about what's next. And sadly, like the question that you have to ask about the program at this moment in time is, are they making progress? Have they made progress? Can they make progress? And that's not the question that you wanted to ask at this point in time. Like, if you get the win out of the way today, even if you go 0-3 after that, at least you did it. At least you did the thing. You did the next thing. You did the next thing. And
you got 2 weeks. Right?
If you are listening to this, if you're watching us live, and we have had the most viewers ever all night long for this episode, which is so funny. But if you're listening to us,
it was my great marketing.
And this is how we are every week. We just argue about Satterfield every 30 minutes like an old married couple. But if you are saying, Josh, I don't see progress, and I'm not going to believe that there will be progress until they go 11-1 or something, I cannot argue with you. I am unable to argue anymore about where this program is going and it being in a good direction. I don't have that. I don't have the answer for you in that regard. And that sucks. Like, again, I said it this morning, Jack. You get the 6th win, at least you can say, we did the thing. You got tangible growth. Even if it's not great, it's still better than 5. And for at least another week, at least another 2 weeks, they haven't done it. And there's a world now where they go 0-6 to finish the season. A very real world. 0-6 to finish the season, man.
They got to get a win. They have got to figure out how to get a win.
Yeah.
Just to get the practices, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
I think it's less about practices now, just to get the vibe.
The vibes too. Yes. All of it. Yes. If
they actually lose out and they go 5-7 again, no one will buy into anything. And they shouldn't. They shouldn't. You should not. And it's going to be a miserable offseason.
Yeah.
It'd be horrible.
I don't know how you spin that.
You can't. You cannot. You cannot spin another 5-7 season. Not after you start at 5-1. Not after you start at 5-1. You cannot spin that. That would mean 0-8 in 2 consecutive, Novembers combined.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Is there even a scenario? Is there even a scenario now where you can say this year that there will have been progress? Does that exist at all anymore?
No, and if they won their last 3, I get but I don't believe that's going to happen. So it's like no.
Okay,
no. The answer is no.
It's still at least possible in principle.
Hey, yeah, if they came back and surprised me and won 3 in a row,
what if they beat Wisconsin and Iowa?
Yeah, see, you're saying things that would mark progress, but that I have a hard time imagining. You know?
No, I know.
You're saying things that like, yeah, that'd be great.
But Josh, I mean, again, let's be honest.
Teams.
Right. But again, we didn't believe Nebraska would lose. We all thought Nebraska was lose by 50 to Ohio State too. Things just change sometimes. Like it or not. I know everyone wants it to be everything the same. And then when things are looking good, UCLA happens, right? So, or things are looking better. So things could change, whether you think so or not. I'm just asking, right? When do you get to the point where that's not even possible? Obviously, if you lose out, the answer is no. What if you get one and you go to a bowl? Because that's maybe the most likely scenario.
Yeah.
Right. You get one and you
get
one.
7.
Obviously, the answer is if you don't win any, it's going to be maybe go backwards, actually. Right.
Dude, there are people in our chat right now who are saying if they go 0-6, Rhule should be fired.
Yeah. People will say that for sure. I don't think so, but people will definitely say that. But yes, my question is, get to a bowl. Is that enough to feel like there was very, very incremental progress this year? Or does it matter what the game is or how they win it or any of that?
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard because
they at least would have just gotten done what they couldn't ever get done for up till now this year or last.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, man, I'll be glass half full for you. If they are able to crawl out of this 0-3 hole that they are in and find a way to win one of the last 3, that would be kind of impressive just because of how dire everything seems at this exact moment. So to answer it, yeah, I guess so. Just because everything seems so bad at this moment in time. So bad at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think you're right. Listen, nobody was going to be jumping up and down, but that'll be enough to at least make a case. Yeah. Right. Even if you just get one more. And then just the feeling of the season continuing and going to a bowl.
Yeah.
That too. And breaking up that losing streak.
Hey, an interesting point from Armac. He brings up Dirk Chatelain, who will be joining us on Wednesday as we break down the Electoral College, among other topics. But he says Dirk has the stats. No bowl in year 2. It won't happen. Dirk has written about that if you do not make a bowl game in year 2, it is very difficult to ever imagine it turning around. And that is something to keep an eye on as the season comes to an end. So I can't wait to talk about that with Dirk. God, I thought we were going to have him on at such a different moment in time. Such a different moment in time. I was so pumped when we booked this in like September. It's like, hey, let's have Dirk on. Where will Nebraska be? They'll be really, really good. But yeah, like if I guess, Jack, 6 wins, you'd find a way out of the hellhole that they're in right now. So I would say it's a mental fortitude.
Point. It's just a step above. It may be it's a step out of hell for sure, and it might be a tiny step above, just like putting a pallet on the ground to the ground from last year and stepping.
It really is. It really is. It's like a tiny step. It's like one of those old cobblestone steps, but it would be a step up nonetheless. Brutal.
I'm doing a lot of arguing in the chat right now. So
what's going on? What's being argued about right now?
Well, I mean, I'm going back and forth. Jordan's doing the whole what would give you any belief that they could ever do anything good the rest of the year. Try to make the argument that I've made a bazillion times, which he clearly doesn't believe, that not only this team but everything in college football does not completely go like it did the week before, and it happens constantly with this team and it happens constantly with college football. But he thinks that's a terrible argument. Full faith that maybe the dice roll and what changes will come up in our favor is what he said. I don't even know what that means totally, but nonetheless, that's his argument. And then another Satterfield thing.
Another Satterfield thing?
Yeah. So somebody said that they should fire him on the Discord chat, which I was like, whoa, let's explore that. So I wanted to kind of maybe get into. I know we only have 10 minutes, but what do you think about that?
Good take. Fire him.
Oh, yeah. I think I agree. All right.
I'll say this. No intel on this. My God, we're climbing. Our audience is climbing. Jack, do we have to do another hour and 20 minutes?
They're hearing about these hot takes that apparently, and I guess not something I had even considered till just this moment, but maybe you make a change. Am I understanding this? Is it offensive coordinator? At offensive coordinator, and you change that person out, I guess, is
what people are saying.
One of these ideas.
Hey, people like this. I-formation. Okay. I like Sarcastic Josh. Huss, who you've been arguing with. Sarcastic Jack. Good radio.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mickey, Jack reading every fire Satterfield message would be a good bit.
I'm going to sleep on this, but that is something, huh?
Let's explore it a little bit more. Let's explore it a little bit more.
Let's delve a little further into this idea.
God, Dave, what if Foley and Sat traded jobs? Now that is an outside
Better
the box
or worse
idea.
next year.
That is an outside the box idea.
Better or worse. I feel like Foley's going to run the ball a lot.
By the way, there is a comment in the YouTube chat, which again we don't really read these very often. But this is more of a question. Are these guys streaming to multiple platforms and not checking the chat here? First time seeing them. So yeah. Dashcam. First of all, thanks for hanging out, man. We love to have you here. We do this podcast on Saturday nights after Nebraska's games. We read comments though from the Discord server of the various patrons that we have that subscribe to the I-80 Club at patreon.com/I-80 Club. One of the perks of being a patron. And then Jack argues with you about Satterfield.
Yeah, yes. We may get super chats soon if we get up to 500 followers, though.
We're getting really close.
And if we get those, they happen. And I have no idea what that even means, but they happen.
I think they pay us, and then we have to read. I think we have to read the super chats. Is what the bit is.
Is that what it is? I don't know. All that said, there was a really interesting debate also going on. Like Satterfield should, yay or no, should he be fired? That's very
like for keep, retweet for fire.
Yes, but there was an interesting also is Tim Waltz gay discussion going on also in the YouTube chat, which I
thought Jack that we were anti-politics in the podcast.
I know, but I kind of got carried. But luckily the Satterfield thing and the sheer interest that I have in that drove me away from that. But for a while I saw that going on, so that was good.
Well, again, stay tuned. Jack and I are election coverage coming on Tuesday night. We're going to go on for 6 hours. That night, starting when I get home after dinner at about 7 o'clock or so. So stay tuned for that. That's just for the $80 a month subscribers, though. So just the $80 a month subscribers.
Does USC have
anything?
No, I know. Does USC have a game next week, or are they on bye?
They are off. Remember, every one of Nebraska's opponents always has an off week ahead of them.
Just a reminder, things are going to be just as bad there, if not worse, than they are here. It's kind of it's a race to the bottom there in how bad the vibes are going to be between these two teams.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference between Nebraska and USC. Out there, like everyone in the media hates Lincoln Riley's guts. And here, people don't hate, at least in the media. I don't really know anyone in the media who hates Matt Rhule. No, but out there on the West Coast, they despise that
he's
man.
Nice to him. He's nice to him.
Yeah,
he knows how to work him.
Riley has been a baby, man. He's been a baby
he was
for
used to being in Oklahoma.
Yeah, he sucks. So, yeah. I-formation, which is why the game will be at 10 o'clock. We will. If it's at 10 o'clock, we have a couple ideas of things to do. We'll decide over the next 2 weeks if that ends up happening. But
yeah,
we'll see.
He's probably yelling at the media right now as we speak, to be honest.
We
should have went live to his press conference.
Not a bad idea.
I'm starting to think maybe the vibes are in Nebraska's favor for this game in a couple of weeks.
Well, hey, it might be good that Nebraska's playing on the road in a game.
On the road? Right?
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley maybe playing for his job. Matt Rhule isn't. He's safe.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Isn't that wild?
I heard about this offensive coordinator guy. Now I'm understanding he might be in some jeopardy, but not the head coach. Nice weather. Gonna be more Husker fans there than USC fans. Still, probably.
Maybe. Hey, let me ask this.
Don't give me maybe. It's gonna be.
Why, if you're a Nebraska fan, why would you go? No way. I'll disagree.
Many of our listeners. There are at least 3 of our Discord members who are going to be there.
Wow, that's
awesome. Why don't you ask them?
Well, I don't think that there will be more Nebraska
Brendan?
fans.
He's going to be there. Ask Dave. He's going to be there.
That's awesome.
Hey guys,
I hope they have a
Josh
great time.
doesn't get why you would go to this game. Can you tell him?
No, I was saying there will not be more Nebraska fans than USC fans. No way. No way in hell.
Vibes are bad, Josh.
Vibes are bad. Hey, is there a world where Satterfield's not calling plays anymore? Is that a world, you think, that Nebraska could live in 2 weeks?
And the quarterback coach takes over, or who?
Yeah.
I feel like Rhule doesn't know enough about it. You ever get the sense when Rhule talks, he does such the CEO thing that he'll even make sort of a side comment, and he's like, I can't remember what he said last week, and so I don't want to misquote him, but he said something those guys do the football stuff, and I do. I don't know what he was saying, but he is seeming like the ultimate CEO coach. right now to me.
Yeah. In the bad way.
I don't know if it's bad or good, but he is really, and maybe that puts more of an onus on the assistants that he hires, to be honest, because they're more powerful.
Yeah, interesting. But I know he challenges them quite a bit.
He seems like a big time CEO coach, because I think he's thinking about so much other non off the field stuff all the time, which I think is good, which I don't think is a bad thing. But I got that he said something at a press conference. I wish I could find it or remember it, but it was like crazy. It was just like, wow. Jordan says, have the fans call plays. Well, run.
That would be great.
Oh, yeah, let's see that. Let's see. I would like to. You know what? I'd like to do that just for the fans to fail. That'd be fun.
This is you are rooting against your program. You are who you hate. You have become that which you hate. This season, Jack, has done a number on you. It has done a number on you.
I have had.
You're always like, I want the team to be good so that I can stick it in the fans' faces. And
right.
It's like,
I've had too many people say that to me. I've become one of them. Look. Yeah,
Jack
I learned it from watching. It's like the kid taking drugs.
Because he was like, I want a place where I can give my takes and no one will yell at me. And instead now people pay to yell at Jack more.
That's right.
That is what the I-80 club has become.
Listen, I'm like the kid in the 80s, the PSA, where he saw his dad taking drugs and he said, I learned it from watching you. That's what's happening right now with this whole thing. That's what we should really do to settle debates between the fans. Have some kind of a simulation where we call plays for a game, give it away to a fan, and then the fan can brag, right? Well, it looks like I did know what I was doing about running the ball there on first down and stay into the run when it was working. I'll tell you what, I would be not running the ball. I would be bombing the absolute balls out of that football. Yeah. You would see balls in the sky lighting up the.
Are these Jordan's testicles?
Just but you would stand out. You can stand at Pinnacle Bank Arena and you can see the balls sailing high through the air that I called from my playbook, which was really simple.
What's happening with the quarterback? How much protection is there? What's going on here?
We're keeping a running back in. We're keeping a running back in to chip, and then he's going to do a little safety route if everything's covered. That's not pretty much idea. That's most of the plays. Then we'll also do speed option. I-formation, name of the pod, balls in the sky. Yeah, well, balls in the sky, Jack. Should that be the name of the pod? What was the other one that I had earlier? I don't know. I don't know if that's totally representative.
Each loss is more dispiriting than the next. I think that's going to it's going to grab people a little bit more. So I think I'm going to stick with each loss is more dispiriting than the last one.
What, do we have any offensive coordinators these days that run my video game offense, which is bomb the hell out of the ball, mobile quarterback, scrambles, and speed option out of the shotgun?
No, I don't think so.
Interesting. So. Maybe there's a bit of a niche out there that I could fill.
Not a bad idea.
As the next offensive coordinator of Nebraska. I think the team's pretty much set up for it. Looking at the roster, you don't have the running quarterback.
No.
I've heard.
Well, Harburg.
Have
you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Have you heard about this guy? Yeah,
he does run. Now he can't throw, but he does run.
By the way, is Heinrich or is Dylan going to be healthy to even play in 2 weeks?
Now
should we at least ask that question? It's weird that doesn't come up to the last 5 minutes of the pod.
Don't know the answer, Jack, but that is a really, really, really good question. Really, really, really good question. I wish I knew the answer to that question, though. Man.
His back. I mean, what was that, too? He thought he was good enough to go out, and then he realized he couldn't even walk.
That was so weird. What the hell, man? What the hell? That's like an old man type injury where you're like, I think I'm good.
I know.
Walk into your kitchen, you're like, oh!
I think I said that.
My beer.
I think I said that in the boardroom chat where I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, if there's one thing I can relate to, it's low back pain.
Rob says Dylan in a full body cast rule. Dylan is fine. Come on the field. He's fine.
Like O.J. Simpson in Lethal Weapon.
Dave, Daniel Kaler's first career playing time is a start in the freaking Coliseum. I've seen, Jack, the Kalen Hive gets louder by the week.
There is also, that's a great thing to point out. There is a big DK contingent out there.
Oh, yeah.
Based on what? I have no idea. What's it based on?
You know what I think it is?
No idea.
I think it is. We know what Dylan is. We know what Harburg is. We don't know what Kalen is. Let's see what he looks like. I think that's what it is mainly. He's the unknown. He is truly the unknown. It's not that the backup quarterback's the most popular player on the campus. No, he is just someone who doesn't have the stink of the team on him yet.
That's why every backup quarterback is so popular. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the excitement of what you haven't yet seen.
Sure, try him. I don't give a shit anymore. Do whatever you want to do.
You know what?
Who cares?
Wait, if we're doing that, it's Jalen Gramstead time, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course you want that, you homer. Oh man. Folks, this is the I-80 Club After Dark. We appreciate you joining us.
This is what you've been missing. A lot of you, judging from the number.
I don't know. Jack, what do you think? Normally we do these at 8. Doing it 9, a little loopier. We're a little loopier, a little punchier.
There's an alternate world, Josh, where I'm 4 beers drinking beers out of bowl. But instead, you know what I'm drinking? Caffeine-free Diet Mountain Dew. This is what losers drink, and this is what I'm drinking. This is what winners drink and drink out of. Okay. Yeah. And by the way, this will be back for the USC game. Okay. This will be back if need be for the Wisconsin game and for the Iowa game. Okay.
Yeah.
And when the time comes, I will be.
Can we talk about something? I just posted the picture. Why are you pouring it? Why didn't you just do it?
I can tell you that. I started pouring it and I was thinking about the screenshot because marketing.
There you go.
I wanted the Mountain Dew. I wanted the Mountain Dew label to be showing, as if I'm getting paid for it or something.
Yes. Dave, caffeine-free Dew. We need an intervention. Yeah, that's sicko behavior, bro.
Yep.
That's disgusting. That's so weird. What's the point? That's the whole point of Diet Mountain Dew.
The point is, I want to go to bed and I want something that tastes good.
Yeah, I guess hard to argue that. Hard to argue that.
And
here's a comment.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, here's a comment on the YouTube from Wade. I want to join Patreon, but that means I still care about football. Wade, do I have the news for you? How about this, Jack? Starting on Monday night after Nebraska ball premieres, it'll be Jack, it'll be Caleb Henry, it'll be Jacob Bigelow. We will be doing this for select Nebraska basketball games throughout the first couple of months of the season. I wish everybody could see what Jack is doing right now. I can, because I have my computer set up in a very specific way. This is what he's doing. Oh, there we go. He's moving his arms.
So I'm excited about after Nebraska.
Anything. Yeah, so that's starting on Monday, approximately 9:30ish. It'll be available on both the I-80 Club YouTube as well as the Husker Max YouTube. We would love you to like and subscribe both of those pages.
And if Nebraska basketball shoots below 25% from 3, we will talk about whether or not they should fire their offensive coordinator.
Ooh, that's a great bit. That is a really good bit. How about this comment from one of our subscribers, Burn Toastman 31. The Patreon is worth it. Fun crew. Hell yeah, it's worth it. That's what we read.
We read your YouTube comments if you're promoting us.
Yeah, we absolutely love that. So, go there, patreon.com/I-80 Club. We will be doing a shitload, some would say, Jack, of Nebraska ball content this season. You and Caleb did your first Nebraska ball brunch show on Friday morning. It was really, really good. Yes.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And the good thing about Husker basketball is there are sad nights, yes. I don't know if there are any nights that are this sort of bitterly sad. And by the way,
you say that now, man. Good job. You just jinxed the hell out of it.
I mean, the Texas A&M.
Creighton's gonna win, and it's gonna be stupid, and you're gonna be pissed.
But this is true. This is true, and I discussed this with Kent Pavelka. If you listen to our discussion, which you can also see on our YouTube
look at all this content.
Nebraska basketball has got that thing though. Nebraska football hasn't given you the Colorado game. They've given you like one true joyful night in 5 years. There are 2 or 3 of them, even in bad years, every year in basketball. That's the difference. Because there's a volume of game. You know you're going to have a night or two, even if you're at a musical, even if you're singing Les Mis.
Yes,
there are going to be some freaking great nights. So you've got that. Mm-hmm. There you go. So for the people crapping on Nebraska basketball, I'm sorry if you enjoy this. If this is what you like, great. But there are other things in life as well.
There you go. So yeah, it's awesome. Nebraska basketball has never let anyone down. And also, I think we just talked Wade into subscribing to patreon.com/I-80 Club. So we would love to have you here.
Coffees for closers, baby.
Yeah. Hey, do this before you go. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate everyone joining us. This has been our biggest audience that we have ever had, and it's come on our punchiest night yet. We still have 3 more of these to do throughout the season. The USC game, though, we're going to figure that out depending on kickoff time. That could be something a little bit different, but we'll have more news starting really when we get the kickoff time. Hopefully that's tomorrow, and then we can go from there. So that will be a whole lot of fun. Next week, Jack, we got the After Nebraska Ball postgame show. Dirk Chaplin will join us on Wednesday.
Boom. Even if the country's burning, probably.
Boom. Yep.
Potential cancellation if the country's burning.
Potential cancellation. $80 Patreon tier. You get the politics discussion on Tuesday night. The Nebraska Ball brunch show on Friday. We will be doing a coffee show on Saturday. I guess TBD on what we're doing that night because there will be no Nebraska game to react to. So maybe the night off for us. So yeah. I think Jack and I are going to take the night off. So yeah, do that. An NFL show with Mike Schaefer and I will be the following Monday. We'll be doing that.
Oh, God, we're back on that then. Wow.
Oh, yeah. The Cowboys suck ass. Dude, this football season blows. I hate this sport sometimes, man. It blows.
When's the second Nebraska basketball game that we're doing?
Here, I can show you the graphic.
There is. I mean,
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah. Well, I guess that Bethune-Cookman one is on that bye week, isn't it? On Saturday night. Like, we weren't going to do that because we thought we might be doing a night show. So nice. I suppose there's a chance we could still do a basketball show that night. We'll see.
Oh, there you go. Maybe get a little hoops content next Saturday.
Maybe.
So
we'll see. But then for sure, it'll be Fairleigh Dickinson, and we're going to do that we'll move the Wednesday show that week from the 13th, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we'll figure that stuff out as we get closer. So there you go. Like and subscribe. And if you would be so inclined, you can go to patreon.com/I-80 Club and you can become a full-fledged member. You can get access to every single one of our pods. And if you decide to subscribe for $8 a month, you get to comment throughout each and every one.
You get to annoy me in the chat is what you're going to get to do.
Shaq
to the point that
so
I can't
triggered.
Look away.
He slammed his computer closed a couple weeks ago and it turned off his microphone.
I slammed my computer closed because people are trolling me in the chat. I'm starting to think they're doing that purposefully, Josh.
I don't think they are.
I just think that
you have a quick trigger.
I think they might be trying to get a reaction out of me. I'm catching on to this little gig, and so I'm not going to react to it next time.
Yeah, let's see. We'll hold you to it. All right. So we got all that stuff going on. I think that's it, Jack. Have we done everything? We've done all the housekeeping. We've done all the goodbyes. We've done all the hellos. We talked about if they should fire Satterfield.
You say goodbye. No, you say goodbye.
All right. No, you say goodbye. All right. Jack is back on Monday night with Bigelow and Caleb Henry for an After Nebraska Ball pod, and we will go from there. Wade says annoying Jack is worth the $8. Welcome, Wade, to the Patreon, patreon.com/I-80.
Does he mean annoying or annoyed, do you think? Do you think that's a typo?
He said annoying.
Yeah, but you think he probably meant annoyed Jack.
Oh, I took it to mean he's going to.
Oh, him annoying as in a verb, not as in a
bingo.
Gotcha.
Bingo.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
He's Jack. I'm Josh. Thanks for joining us tonight on I-80 Club After Dark.
Bye.